Whole Lotta Red contains production from quite a few people, with the list extending to 20 official contributors. The way Carti employed each producer's unique skill set to mash together so many sounds in such a cohesive way on the album is unbelievable, and Whole Lotta Red literally stands on the work done by guys like Filthy and Art Dealer. To celebrate and highlight how the production makes the overall listening experience so special, I've decided to rank my top 5 favorite producers based on their work done with Carti for Whole Lotta Red. Now, I did mention before that there are 20 officially credited producers, but I do think I really only need to speak extensively about the top 5 and then some honorable mentions. Like, for example, guys like Ken Carson and Gabe only contributed production to one song each on the album, so if that's your absolute favorite song, then they might be in your top 5. But my opinions are also taking into account how much each producer did overall. Alright, I think it's time we get into my personal rankings of the production contributions on Whole Lotta Red, and again, this is purely my opinion, so please let me know in the comments what your personal list is and what you think of my list. Before getting into my below honorable mention tier, I want to quickly list each producer and each song they worked on for the album. Art Dealer has credits on Die For Guy, Not Playing, Over, Sky, King Vamp, Control, and Meh. Filthy has credits on Rockstar Made, Stop Breathing, Metamorphosis, New Tank, Punk Monk, and On That Time. Out of Town contributed to Beano, Meh, Control, King Vamp, and Die For Guy, while Richie South is responsible for Feel Like Dyin' and Jump Out the House. Starboy did Meh, Control, King Vamp, and Die For Guy, while Jonah Abraham worked on Rockstar Made, No Sleep, and New Tank. Rourke Bailey did Slayer and Feel Like Dyin', while Lucrative did Stop Breathing and Punk Monk. S-Sort also worked on Stop Breathing. Pierre Born is solely responsible for Place and I Love You, I Hate You. KP Beats worked on No Sleep and Vamp Anthem, while Molly Raw did New Neon and Teen X all by himself. Jasper Harris has credits on Vamp Anthem, Lucian has credits on Punk Monk, Jubilee has credits on Slayer, Wheezy made Go to the Moon with Kanye, OG Volta has credits with On That Time, Ken Carson and Lil 88 worked on Beano, and Gabe worked on Metamorphosis. Okay, so starting with my below honorable mention tier, everyone in this tier for me contributed to only one song on Whole Lotta Red, so it's hard for me to really say how impactful they were to the overall project. First, we got Lil 88 and Ken Carson, who definitely gave Beano one of the most unique identities on the album. We also got OG Volta, Lucian, Gabe, Wheezy, S-Sort, Jasper Harris, and then finally Jubilee. Like I said, all of these producers only worked on one song and so had the least impact and influence on the overall outcome of Whole Lotta Red. Now we can move on to my honorable mention tier. Really quick, the below honorable mentions and honorable mentions tier are in no particular order. Starting off, we have Out of Town and Starboy, who both worked on 3 of my favorite songs from Whole Lotta Red: King Vamp, Die For Guy, and Control. Their pairing with Art Dealer was genius, and Carti got so many good tracks out of those 3. All of them also did Meh, and Out of Town worked on Beano, which, like I mentioned with Ken Carson and Lil 88, is one of the album's most unique sounding songs. But I think it's obvious why Out of Town and Starboy deserve the honorable mention tier. With them working together with Art Dealer on 4 tracks, their presence is everywhere on the release Whole Lotta Red track list. Next in this tier, we've got Lucrative, who has credits on Stop Breathing and Punk Monk, which is interesting because both of these songs kind of sit on opposite ends of the Whole Lotta Red spectrum. Next, I unfortunately have to put Richie South in this tier, although his work put in on Feel Like Dyin' and Jump Out the House is for sure notable. It's also tough because Richie could have had a hand in so many other tracks that were cut during Whole Lotta Red's development. He practically dominated the album's second era, so I'm glad he at least got some representation on the release version. Next, we got KP Beats, who put in work on No Sleep and Vamp Anthem, and these two definitely sound pretty similar, so it's easy to hear the work that KP did. And finally, for the last spot in the honorable mentions tier is Rourke Bailey, with credits on Feel Like Dyin' and Slayer. I feel bad having both Richie South and Rourke Bailey in this tier because Feel Like Dyin' is definitely one of my favorite tracks on Whole Lotta Red, but I don't know, each of the top 5 producers really stand out to me, so let's get started with number 5. At the number 5 spot on my top Whole Lotta Red producers list is Molly Raw with the work he did on New Neon and Teen X. Those are two of my most played songs on the album for sure, and the high energy, bright rage synths contributed by Molly are just so perfect on here. Not to mention Future sounds great on Teen X, and it's one of the last remnants of the Whole Lotta Red V2 era and Cardi's high-pitched experimental sound, so I feel like it gives great contrast on the album among other sounds. Neon so perfectly encapsulates Whole Lotta Red's first version as well, and it's a testament to how the release version we got is actually just a perfect mix of everything Cardi had been working on. Coming in at my number 4 spot is none other than the GOAT himself, Pierre Born, who unfortunately only ended up contributing to 2 songs on Whole Lotta Red's final version. Those being Place, which was 2 years old, and I Love You I Hate You, which was newly made for the album. Obviously, we all know how much work Pierre did with Cardi that went unused for Whole Lotta Red, but I think the fact that he got 2 of his best produced songs on the final album shows how much Cardi respects and honors the influence Pierre had on the album's sound. A lot of Cardi fans would argue there is truly nothing better than Cardi and Pierre together, and I really think their 2 collaborations here are evidence of just how well these two work in tandem. Really, the only complaint you can lobby is that Pierre should have had maybe another song or 2 on the final release, which I could see, but that doesn't downplay Place and I Love You I Hate You for me. It just makes me appreciate them more because we really could have gotten no Pierre at all. Next at number 3 is a dark horse I'd say in Jonah Abraham. His work done on Rockstar Made and New Tank is so ridiculously good, and those 2 songs are some of the most pure embodiments of Whole Lotta Red's final sound evolution. In addition, he also has credits on No Sleep, which fits the theme of the dark and rough rage beats developed with Rockstar Made and New Tank. Rockstar Made is maybe one of the best album introductions I can think of, and New Tank is just perfect Cardi and goes so hard. Now let's talk about the other guy that contributed to Rockstar and New Tank, along with 4 other songs on the release version of Whole Lotta Red, Filthy. Yes, at number 2, I am putting Filthy, although he has a great argument for first place. Filthy just flat out defined so much of what made this era of Cardi sound so unique and iconic. With the amazing producer tag and the perfect rage beats, it just seemed like Filthy was the perfect person for Cardi to utilize for the album. In addition to Rockstar Made and New Tank, Filthy worked on Stop Breathing, Metamorphosis, Punk Monk, and On That Time. All of these songs essentially represent the pillars of the dark rage beat side of Whole Lotta Red, and they contrast phenomenally well with songs like Place from Pierre and New Neon from Molly Raw. The reason Whole Lotta Red is so good and so memorable is because of all the different sounds being mashed together, and Filthy's sound is by far one of the most important and influential, but I would say there is one producer who had a bigger and better impact in my opinion, and that is Art Dealer. When I talk about pillars of the dark rage sound on Whole Lotta Red being built by Filthy, Art Dealer built the other supporting pillars of Whole Lotta Red's sound with futuristic and bright rage inspired beats. Art Dealer is officially credited with production on 7 songs: Die For Guy, Not Playing, Over, Sky, King Vamp, Control, and Meh. I would say these 7 are just so obviously the next evolution of Cardi's sound into the rage and synth-filled territory, and I think Art Dealer did some insane work both with Cardi and with fellow producers Starboy and Outta Town. I mean, Not Playin', Over, and Sky are like 3 of the best Cardi songs ever made, and Art Dealer is solely responsible for those. So for me, I think it's no contest that he takes the number 1 spot over Filthy, but if you prefer that other side of Whole Lotta Red, then I could definitely see Filthy taking the top spot for you then. Really, it comes down to which part of the album's sound do you prefer. You can go with the first version being represented by Pierre and Molly Raw, the second version with Richie South, the third version with Filthy or Art Dealer. I mean, there's just so much diversity among the track list. Like I've said throughout the video, the production on Whole Lotta Red is what makes it such an amazing listening experience, and it's one of the album's strongest qualities. The way Cardi was able to mix and match and use producers with other ones to just create the perfect web of collaboration is mind-boggling, and while I could definitely see an argument for having Filthy as the top producer on Whole Lotta Red, I gotta personally go with Art Dealer. But again, please let me know in the comments what your guys' top 5 list is and what you think of my picks. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video.